Join us on Now We Consume. Take in the knowledge, take in the laughs, indulge in the topics with us. The Now We Consume podcast will take you through the parts of your day you normally dread. Why suffer through the existential crisis of life alone when you can do it with us? And Now We Consume.
This is not meant to be a conspiracy episode or podcast, but we may cover some topics that dance that line like a toddler dances on their mother's last nerve. This podcast is rated I, for immature audiences only.
If you've ever found yourself about to be trafficked in a foreign country and realize that that is a less stressful situation than your job is, then you are among friends. Welcome back to the Now We Consume podcast. I am your host, Pip. With me, and stunned as always by the latex-clad word orgy that has once again slithered its way out of my mouth, is Gibbs.
What?
Oh,
I'm here, but what?
I had to bring that one together. It hit me when I woke up, and I.
That's what hit you? Hold on. Those words in that order are in, I quote, Pip wakes up, Pip says that word salad. Okay. Uh-huh.
These are just the thoughts that cross my head as soon as I open my eyes. I can't help it. So with us tonight is our friend LT. He's going to be joining us in the discussion. We are going to be talking about overall the alien disclosures, the UAP admissions from the government, and why nobody really seems to care. It's something we've kind of joked about a little bit among ourselves and our friend group, but there seems to be a general malaise about the fact that the government has said, hey, this stuff is out there. It exists. We don't know what it is, where it's coming from. And people are just like, cool, fam. So our friend LT's got a very passionate interest in a lot of this subject. If you'd like to take a couple seconds and tell us a couple things about yourself and what has drawn you to this so much.
Well, I mean, I guess for the most part, the main reason I'm interested is just the history aspect of it. That's kind of where I go with a lot of it is what strings are attached to us and everything else, and what's gone further. There's definitely more than the past 10,000 years. So what was before that, and so on.
I agree.
So
right. Was it the allure of the possible anal probes that really drew you to it?
It was one of the things that drew me away. Still not really on board with that part. Trying to avoid that if all possible.
Just you're just like still to the first knuckle.
No,
maybe just thumb in philosophy.
That's already too far. I already tried pulling away.
All I can say is the whole anal probe thing was only popular before gay marriage was legalized. I'm just saying. There were a lot of very hopeful guys that were very, very, very closeted back in the day.
That whole thing.
That's all I can say.
That could have been a whole Russian psyop on its own. Make everyone afraid of the aliens for anal probes.
This is very true.
Da, comrade, aliens are gay, don't you know? They want your anus. Protect your chocolate starfish.
Oh, my Lord. So, through the years, we've had lots of different types of UFO sightings and various UAP, which is the new in term, mentions and reports. Everything from June and Frank and Betty Hill back in the 50s or 40s with their first sighting that really started the whole UFO phenomenon, all the way up to now we have congressmen, senators, naval pilots, Air Force personnel coming out and saying, hey, this shit's out there. We don't know what it is.
There's actually people that have reports all the way back to 47. Like day of the...
Those are just the ones on record. So some of the more recent and interesting ones, I know we've mentioned it in at least one of our past episodes, the Miami Mall incident. In trying to find information about that one, it has come to my attention that the majority of the videos and information about that night have been removed from the internet.
There's no Warren Bossing say.
No.
There was nothing at the mall incident. Nothing ever happened.
Yep.
Exactly. Nope. The videos that came out in the day of and the days following, they're gone. You can see like one video that's been shared across the news outlets, and it shows like a gray blob, very fuzzy, out of focus near the corner of a building. That's like the only video that's still out there.
What's interesting about that whole thing was if they had come out and been honest about with whatever happened. I'll be honest, most people don't care about the alien stuff because, quite frankly, the economy sucks and people are just trying to afford to live. So, like, they could have been like, yeah, aliens touched down and then they left. I would have been like, all right, I would leave too. So, like, it would...
They probably saw Tiger King.
So, like, it's just one of those things where because everything was scrubbed to a point that you can't get anything, that's where it gets fishy. I did hear reports that there were some people talking about that, you know, some kids supposedly lit off some fireworks or did something like that. But with the way not only people were running away, but also with the massive police presence.
Right.
I mean, they didn't even respond that well to the Mandalay Bay shooting.
No, they didn't. That was the episode I think we talked about it on.
Yeah. Well, this is my problem, is they responded to that mall incident with 4 or 5 times the police power than they did with the Mandalay Bay shooting after they had confirmed deaths. So, no, something went down, but we'll just, unfortunately, we'll never know what.
Yep.
No.
Just like everything else in Project Blue Book files are all classified. We'll never see those.
Oh, we're gonna touch tips on Project Blue Book a little bit later.
Okay.
Aggressively. So all of the drone sightings that we've gotten to play around with over the past 6 months, they've died down heavily over the past month or so. Oddly enough, weird timings, you know. Turns out if there are certain people in certain positions, things in the sky might get shot down. All the drone sightings, we still don't know what's going on with those. There's new revelations that Iran has a drone carrier in service. Was it in service when all that stuff was going on? We don't know. That's still classified information. Information about the drone carrier is coming out. So apparently it was still in dry dock during this time.
I was going to say, there's no way another nation could get their military or even military asset within 20, 30 miles, even 100 miles of the U.S. border without us knowing about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be very surprised.
The fact that those drones were over major American cities, airports, military bases, those were not from here. There's no way.
They would have to have been U.S. military.
They were either ours or they were some kind of an ally that we would have been not fearful of them.
Well,
LT, you had a thought on these.
There's still reports that they're happening. Just you don't see them a lot. They kind of get pushed down in the algorithm still, but there's still people are still seeing things in the sky. Granted, there's a lot of dumb people, so there's a good chance that most of them are still planes or satellites and stuff like that. So you kind of have to take that in a little bit of a pinch of salt. But there's a couple really interesting weird tie-ins. There's this one group that had published a thing a couple days prior, claiming that they talked to some beings and that they were going to start displaying a lot more in the next coming weeks, and then all the drone sightings happened.
Yeah, so speaking of things being revealed, I feel like even if things start being shown in cities and over the skies of cities, I don't know that people are going to believe it right away.
No.
Given the level of drone and AI display technology, and not only that, but like like we had talked last week, deep fakes coming out. Just the sheer amount of false information that could be generated and dispersed. I don't know that. Honestly, I don't know that a real invasion would even get noticed.
A real invasion would if it became a violent one. If it was a silent,
I was gonna say not if it was a non-violent one.
As soon as violence started breaking out, that's when it would become. But
the problem would be we're entering a world where reality is somewhat subjective, especially when it comes to the prevalence of AI, and even just without AI, even just people being good at video and photo editing. Let alone is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those things where it would take us days, if not even weeks, to actually factually understand what's going on. And I hate to say it, we can't trust a single news organization at this point. So it's one of those things where even if something were to happen, number one, it would take us days to identify it. Number two, I can't even trust our own military because I don't even trust that they're going to tell us the right thing, let alone the media, let alone social media or anything else. I hate to say it, but it could take days, if not weeks, for anyone to even know. Like definitively, unless you are literally seeing it yourself. The only way to know that something's really happening in this world is when you can look through social media and see 500 or 1,000 people independently from different angles upload something. Then you know, like, oh shit, something actually happened. Yeah. But unless that happens, it's such a crapshoot. You never know.
You need a global meet and greet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every news organization covering it at the same time. Then you can be fairly certain that's happening.
Yeah, if this was like Independence Day.
Yeah, world leaders.
Like, that shit's over the White House.
Yeah, it's world leaders talking about it. It's not Joe Blow on Twitter or some guy on Reddit going, look what I saw.
Yeah, or Alex Jones.
Talking to the
fucking aliens guy.
They touched down over the swamps, and now they're turning the freaking frogs gay.
Oh, God.
So, aside from what we are seeing over the skies now and the history of the reportings and the sightings and the supposed interactions that we've had, we're being forced to reevaluate history as we know it. Something that just came out this week were the ground-penetrating radar scans of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. And it turns out there are some very long structures underneath this pyramid. They go at least a mile down that we've been able to find. I believe that was the correct number.
It's about 2 kilometers.
So, yeah, about a mile. There are tube-like structures going around these pillar-like structures that are under the pyramid. They don't know what they are yet. They're trying to get permission to dig, excavate, find some kind of a way to expeditionize underneath the pyramid. They want to explore. Gibbs, I had mentioned this to you, but I would like to pose this to LT because I don't know if he has heard it, seen it, or anything. I did see a little video. Someone had apparently had the same theory I had. What if the pyramid or pyramids that we're seeing aren't actually pyramids, but they're the tops of obelisks?
I've seen that theory before. I would be less inclined to think that way now, since the radar looks like individual columns, not as a solid column.
Well, okay. A differently designed obelisk or an obelisk-esque structure. I mean, if these are columns, they were made.
I think ultimately it's connected to it, but I don't think it would be classified as an obelisk. I've seen a lot of people thinking either.
Well, let's step outside the box here. What if they are? What does this force us to reevaluate? A mile-high obelisk, well over, 15,000 years old?
Easily.
Because that height, that depth, whatever it turns out to be, I'm sorry, that level of technology did not exist in that day.
I think you're looking at this backwards. It's not that the pyramid is placed on top of an obelisk. But how big are in diameter or circumference? Like how big diameter wise? Or radius?
30 meters, I think they said.
Wide?
Mm-hmm.
Each one, yeah.
So
And there's 8 of them.
So hear
And
me out.
They're like do
With walkways.
So what if before they built the pyramid, they just dug down?
a mile?
Yeah, that's kind
8
of
times.
I mean, not for nothing. You're in the sand.
not back then.
That's not that would be very difficult, but it's not impossible with enough manpower. You remember that's also ancient Egypt. If they just threw slaves at the problem,
We wouldn't like
not for
this
nothing.
is not something we'd be able to build.
You sure about that?
We've never built.
I mean, oil rigs exist. I mean, we have those going thousands of feet into the ground to hold up and then be above water, be able to hold an oil rig.
Yeah, but those are much smaller. These are massive in comparison. I mean, you're not sending 30-meter wide pipes down there mining oil.
It doesn't have to be, but yeah, it doesn't have to be a pipe. It could just be they excavated it out and just filled it with something.
Possible.
You know,
it would definitely shake the foundation of the kind of technology thought at the time. Because even on modern standards, that's an insane project. Even if you had the construction crews of the world,
That's going a mile into the ground, though.
oh no, I know that's insane.
I don't care how much sand is there. It's not a mile deep of sand. You're going to hit rock, and very hard rock.
Yeah,
I think it's basically going to the bedrock.
If not through it.
my question is was that built before the Bronze Age?
Oh yeah, for sure. Pyramid was built before
So
that.
they
age.
wouldn't have the tools to be able to get through that rock. Is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Not even a
totally
little bit.
different shift to it because you also have to keep in mind is around those columns is spiraled like staircase, basically the walkway all the way down. It's not just the columns. That's it. So
imagine if when the pyramids were originally done, they were like on those columns above, like
yeah,
hundreds of feet.
And the sand just backfilled around it.
That'd be wild.
there's a bunch of stories with it too. I know a couple like there's one theory like 100 years ago or so that there's staircases under the pyramids that go down to a library. We found staircases.
Yeah, I've heard
We
that.
found a big block that it goes into. If that's the case, I think that reasoning enough would be a push to dig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why aren't they?
Egypt.
There's people in Egypt that are protecting the sacred history, is what they
Yep.
say.
They don't allow much. of
They
anything.
don't want people to dig
But if it's not going to hurt the pyramid, why not?
because they don't want people to find
Yeah.
things.
But like, why?
Yeah, because they don't want people to
It
find
doesn't make
things.
sense. Like they think they found wagon wheels and stuff from when Moses parted the Red Sea, but they won't let anyone remove the objects to inspect them because it's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds all the more reason why we should go looking.
It's kind of like with Göbekli Tepe.
Like, you know.
They basically a private company bought it, basically made a theme park out of it, and said, "All right, we're done. We're not going to excavate. Sorry, guys." And then they planted trees on top of it. They got it removed, though, thankfully, but it's insane. The oldest settlement we have.
There's so much of our past as humans that we're never going to find out because stupid people like that.
I don't even think it's necessarily stupid people. I think it's selfish people.
Yeah.
Or it's people that, I hate to say it, but they're using, I think, maybe religion as a shield or an excuse as to not.
Yep. They don't want their religion
Which
proven
is-
wrong.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
should be
It could prove
That's
them right,
why-
too. That's the other thing.
Mhm.
You never know.
That's why if I could do one epic thing in my life, I would like to raid the Vatican archives and put everything in there on display for the whole world to see.
Yep.
That's a lot of, oh, I can't say those words on stream. Ooh, inappropriate behavior. I'll just leave it there.
Yes. 3 miles of shelves in the Vatican archives.
And they have confirmed that they've got plenty of documents regarding UFOs and such.
So what's stopping somebody from breaking into the Vatican?
Security.
The Swiss Guard.
Yo.
Yeah.
You can. There have been people that have gotten access to it. It's obviously very difficult to. There's this one lawyer guy who got access through the Jesuit stuff. So people can get access,
but I assume it's another Epstein thing. We're like, yeah, we'll give you access, but we have dirt on you forever.
It's possible.
You know.
Probably. It's the Vatican. Wouldn't surprise me.
There have been people that said that they've talked to people from the Vatican, and they've said that they're ready to come forward when everyone else is ready to come forward. So it's possible if they keep pushing with the movement within Congress that they then also go, here's that more information that we have through the centuries even before America.
That'd be great.
This is funny. Like UFO sightings have been something that have confirmed in almost every major religion, countless times throughout Roman, Greek history. Even obviously even in Egyptian history, this has not been an uncommon thing at the slightest.
Well, like we talked about in our Apes, Aliens, or Adam episode, a lot of the stories from every major religion around the world talk about basically their gods coming from the sky and imparting some kind of gift of life upon the people. And it's the descriptions about the flying chariots, I think it was, from the Hindu text. I can't remember the name of it. Talking about them coming down in those and coming out from them and describing them. Those were literally flying craft. So there's an accepted religious doctrine that is talking about basically a spaceship coming from the sky and a being coming out and interacting with humanity in our past.
Yeah, you got that in Egypt too. I mean, all the gods coming down from the sky. And especially, it's really easy to sell a god that can bring the sun across the sky if your craft is a giant bright orb that flies across the sky.
Right. So we go from the religious pretext that there has been passed down stories of alien interaction to religious paintings that show possible alien vehicles, alien interaction, even some of the stories from different religious texts. If you read them with the context of, could this have been an interaction that was misinterpreted? Yeah. It's a really different way to think about things if you are willing to open your mind to that.
Yeah.
Now, the tinfoil hat says, I did have one person try to explain to me that Jesus actually was an alien. And the entire Christian faith is based on alien beliefs.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be that surprised.
To somehow be resurrected after being crucified several days later, after being locked in a separate house with a giant boulder in front of it. Yeah, that does not seem... Put it this way. Back then, people were not big and they were not strong. If that is something even our steroided out athletes of today couldn't do, how the hell could a starved human...
Right.
I'm just saying.
So the theory on that was them coming back to get his body after he was murdered. They were like, oh shit, we know what they do to their bodies. We cannot leave any evidence.
It just sounds like another episode of Star Trek.
Basically, yeah.
You know.
I saw that one with Data. They had to go back and get his body. So we go from that to, yes, LT, you had mentioned Project Blue Book. I would also like to mention, here comes our daily, our weekly list hop. Let's get on a list, Gibbs. Immaculate Constellation. Now we're on a list. Yay.
What do you mean now we're on a list?
I mean, we've been on a list.
We are on the top of several lists.
Yes. Yes, we are.
I've heard of Immaculate Constellation before, but I actually don't know that much about it.
Yeah, it's one of the UAP programs, supposedly one for, well, LT. Do you want to take that?
I've never heard of it.
My guy, you have sent me videos of the hearings where they talk about it.
Never known what it was called.
Oh my God.
Well, there's a lot of government programs on it. So, like, a lot of the hearings that I've sent you are from guys I know that have worked on other government programs, like ATIP.
Elizondo was talking about it.
Yeah, he was head director of ATIP. That's what I know him for.
Yeah. He worked with the people on Immaculate Constellation. I keep wanting to call it Immaculate Conception. I'm going to slip up and call it that at some point.
Well, I mean, Immaculate Conception does seem like a very alien theory anyway.
Right?
Either that or just someone's cheating. Someone's a fucking liar.
Yep.
One of them, yeah. But yeah, Project Blue Book being the government program that documented all of the UFO sightings throughout history and then was declassified.
Partially declassified.
Partially declassified, yes. I believe out of all of those, there were still a good number of them that they could not explain.
Those are the ones that are still classified.
Yeah. So there again, if there's nothing to worry about, why classify shit? If even after the FOIA Act or FOIA requests, they still come back and say, okay, well, we can tell you it's not enemy technology because it's now been long enough that if it was enemy technology, we would have seen it and know about it in the public by now.
Yeah, it's because it's friendly technology.
We would still know about it.
Yeah, there's people that probably do, but then there's a lot of people that probably don't. There's that same guy that saw the Vatican archives actually ended up getting access to some of the classified Project Blue Book pictures. And it's a very good reason why it's still classified. He said it was basically your stereotypical UFO crashed in the side of a hill, a bunch of Air Force guys around it, clear as day.
Yeah.
And he's like, from that point on, it's from the military. I mean, it's as classified as you get. Granted, maybe they gave him a fake picture. Keep spreading the BS. But
yeah.
Well, with the amount of aircraft that the U.S. military has released that look like UFOs ever since the 60s.
Oh, no.
I mean, the Germans were working on a UFO-looking craft back in the 40s.
This was full-on sphere-looking. Like, this was... He could picture it, but that's what he was given. So...
Okay. Nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So... The Immaculate Constellation, that's one of the newer programs that talks about the interactions and technology that we supposedly have that have been captured, surrendered, built with, designed with, or reverse engineered from alien technology. I would love to get my eyes on that.
There's a bunch of whistleblowers for that. Dave Grush.
Yeah.
And he has a couple of his other members have come forward to talk. Gonna be an interesting couple of years, that's for sure. I think a lot more is going to be known within the next 3 or 4 years.
I would assume so. Kind of hope so. Maybe. A lot of new people going into congressional and senatorial seats of power have promised disclosure. I think that was a lot of what they were trying to run on,
including Marco Rubio.
I know Gillibrand is a big person for that. I'm thinking she's up for re-election soon in her district.
Tim Burchett.
Yeah, he's another one.
Sorry,
yeah. So as well as we have all of the government programs, I'll let you keep looking that up if you want. Something else that we want to talk about is we have now spotted at least 2 objects in our solar system and have confirmed that they were extrasolar in origin. So there's another thing we have to be able to start watching out for is things in the sky that did not come from us. The most popular would be Oumuamua, the rock that we saw that was going through space that looked very odd compared to the normal rocks that we see. It was almost cylindrical in shape.
Like a cigar.
Looked like a cigar, yeah. Once they figured out that this thing was not from our solar system, they tracked it in its path through and around the sun, or the solar system and then the sun. If you understand anything about orbital mechanics, once something is tossed around the sun, as it leaves and gets further from the sun, it starts to slow down because it's gravitationally bound and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
When they were tracking Oumuamua, it got past that point where it should have begun to slow down from the pull of the sun and accelerated. Normal objects do not accelerate as they're being gravitationally tugged on by the sun. As it's getting away, it's getting tugged on, and you should slow down from that tug and pull, you know.
If you're using your whole fist, you better say sorry to her. Okay? From that graphic that you just showed, Jesus fuck. Good
But
God.
do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
There have been a couple of theories. Some people have said, oh, maybe it's degassing, you know, the water basically sublimating from it, and that's what's getting that extra propellant.
Yeah, but that wouldn't generate enough thrust to affect that.
Yeah.
Well, so it wasn't just slinging through the solar system in a straight line. It was spinning on like every axis.
That's weird.
Yeah, so it was coming at us, and it was just spinning on its rotational axis, and I think it was maybe doing one of these numbers. As it was leaving,
yeah,
it then began to do one of these numbers as well. So if it was off-gassing, it would need to be off-gassing from just one point, and it would have to be staying in one plane. Jet thrust, you think about that.
Yeah.
If it's off-gassing while it's spinning like this, and like this, and like this, it would essentially come to a stop between the off-gassing and the gravitational pull. It sped up. So...
yeah, we also caught it a little too late, so we don't know where exactly it came from.
Well, they know roughly the area it came from. They tracked it, at least from its last known or last assumed position. They aren't sure because of, well, stellar drift. But, so there was another one. I didn't find the name of that one, but I felt that Oumuamua was a good one to talk about because who's to say that we don't get a rock thrown at us from Clandathu and we have to go and do the bug assault.
God, if Starship Troopers becomes reality, we all know it's going to go much closer to Helldivers. We know this.
Why do you think Musk is making Starship?
Yes.
Just needs the troopers.
Right?
Oh, God.
That's what the robots are for.
Exactly. That's what we send the AI to do.
Yeah.
We load it on a ship and just set it out. Go kill the bugs. But no, it is interesting that we do see celestial bodies here and there that don't always obey what we understand the laws of physics are, but also we don't understand all of the variables involved yet when it comes to space travel, because we have never even left much of this planet, let alone solar system or anything else. So it's hard to say, but I would agree with you that would just looks more like a celestial body going through our solar system rather than any sort of propelled craft or anything.
Yeah. It definitely, once we start catching a little bit more and being able to fully watch the Path 2, from point A to B. So we'll be able to kind of gauge it, see if it does any sort of course correction or anything like that as well.
It'd be nice once we could start putting more sensitive equipment on different planets in the solar system, able to triangulate and get data from different points to accurately see. Because that's one of the problems we have is we're really getting all of our data from essentially a single point, and it's very hard to triangulate to get proper distances or vectoring when you only have one point of orientation.
Yeah, I can see them doing that, especially if we start actually going to Mars, start actually going to the moon a little bit more, get a couple of different locations, and
it's a shame that our previous presidents gutted NASA.
Yeah.
Because with what Tesla's been able to do, with Elon's been able to do in a few years, imagine what NASA could have been at this point.
SpaceX is doing incredibly crazy things.
And they just start from scratch, just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, we were on trajectory through the 70s that we could have been at least living in space stations by the 90s, like full-time, bigger space stations, possibly the moon by 2000. If they hadn't gutted the space program.
Did they do that because of UFOs? More people in space, more people to see it?
No, they did that to save jobs at Boeing and Lockheed Martin. There was a whole documentary on that one. I'll have to try to find it and post it up.
Also, think about this. Congressmen can't get cutbacks and kickbacks from funding NASA where they can get funding from, military matters.
That's fair.
Or the kickbacks for stuff with NASA would be so small that it wouldn't really be effective,
Yeah.
It wouldn't really get that much.
Be like $100 gift
But
card.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of this UFO stuff and a lot of the alien stuff. It's really just the U.S. government flexing its muscles, or even other governments as well. I think a lot of that is used to, to justify larger budgets and to justify certain advancements in technology, I would say.
Yeah, it gets all swept under the national security state.
Oh, yeah. It's just UFOs. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's like, think about this. If the F-22 was designed in the late 80s, and it is still today the top of the line fighter that no other country can touch, and we've had like 30 years since then, you have no idea what the U.S. military really has right now.
Yeah, no, DARPA is traditionally 10 to 15 years ahead of known release technology.
The F-47 is going to be that first look at what they've been working on. People think they've been seeing it fly since 2014.
Yeah, at least. I think it showed up in a Google Maps picture.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what ends up happening with that.
I can't wait to see the specs on that thing. Because will that be the first fighter that is also going to be somewhat rated for like low interstellar travel?
Probably not.
No,
you mean orbital?
Orbital. That's what I mean. Yeah,
Space Force already has one.
You know what I mean. Sorry, you know what I mean.
They'll probably leave that to Space Force. Space Force has the X. I think it's also an X-37. Yeah, X-37. X-37B is in boy.
Okay. I figured just to save money, they would use a similar platform.
No, basically what it looks like. It basically gets launched by Falcon 9, and then it's one of the furthest things we've put in orbit. They ended up just randomly releasing a picture in the middle of the week going, hey, look what we did.
Space Force is not really good with their social media presence.
Nope.
They really got to up that.
I feel like ever since that TV show came out on Netflix about them, they've kind of been getting shit on.
Hanging their heads in shame.
Once they get more space.
And I mean, let's be real. If they redid some of their stuff, it would have been better. Everyone thinks they're a cheesy ass branch. When the Air Force and the Coast Guard can make fun of you, you know you have a problem. So
yeah, they kicked out all of us Star Trek nerds from the military and shoved us into one spot. They're like,
yeah, basically.
I mean, when you really think about it, though, that's gonna be the place to be in 50 years. Like that.
Not even that. Yeah. Like if anyone's trying to go into the military now,
that's the place to go.
Their ranks are like wide open. You can make actual advancement really quick if you're not a potato. So
Not only that, but think about this. When we start traveling to Mars, somebody's going to have to police it.
You'll be one of the first up there.
Someone's going to have to enforce the law. Like, first one up kind of owns it, so y'all better get
not
hustling.
just that, but since all the space between Earth and Mars technically classifies as international waters, who's to say there won't be some form of space piracy?
Who's to say there isn't already space piracy?
There very well could be. Maybe that's why we haven't left Earth.
You just get mugged.
Yeah.
Can't have shit out here.
Right? I mean, we all played Eve. We know what space piracy looks like.
Baby.
I don't think I've ever actually played Eve.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The problem with that game is it very easily just started sucking up more and more of your life.
Yes. As most games do.
It was Space WoW, is what that really is.
Yes.
You see that?
Yes, it is. So, with all of the stuff that we've talked about so far, and yeah, no, we've mentioned quite a bit. We're already 40 minutes in. We said all of that to say this. Why is all of this information coming out now in 2024, 2025, 2024 with the hearings, of course, the good hearings, and people just don't seem to give a fuck about
News. I think the media still looks at. I mean, they've got New York Times posted about it and stuff like that, but it's not it doesn't bring as many views as Orange Man Bad or anything like that. So they're not going to, by and large, what pays the bills.
Well, that's one thing. Information overload and the presence of strange news, or the overpresence rather, is something that's being blamed. The fact that we live in a time of constant information bombardment. If you think about just like the last 5 or 6 years, you've got everything from a global pandemic, political bullshit, and people are just kind of experiencing like news fatigue. So anything like, hey, aliens are real. Oh, that's cool. Look what Kim Kardashian did.
Well,
look what this celebrity did. Look what that celebrity did.
But
another alien thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at this robot. Look what it can do. Oh, hey, look at this AI thing. Oh, hey, look at this thing. You know, it's those, especially short form media with the reels and the 30-second bullshit. Every day we get closer and closer to idiocracy. I swear it.
Well, I would say the biggest factor in there is, number one, people aren't really looking to the future right now. Everybody's just trying to survive. Currently, they're trying to get to the next day. It's usually how a society can measure when people start thinking about the future in terms of their kids or their grandkids. That's generally when, you know, society's doing well, when they can plan for things. They trust stability. They trust the market. They trust their job or the economy. Whereas now, nobody trusts any of that. I think like my entire generation, everybody in my group already knows none of us are getting Social Security. None of us are getting government benefits. None of us, we all just got to fend for ourselves. I think a lot of people, they don't trust the markets. You know, who knows? Your 401k could be gone 6 years from now. Who knows? The housing market could be completely overturned in even just a few months' time or a few years' time. It's with great instability and great strife that people are like, aliens aren't paying the bills. Like, don't get me wrong. If aliens came to Earth and said, here's $100 billion, I'm not saying no. But if they're not paying my bills, why the fuck would I care? Like, I hate to say that, but that's what most people are thinking.
If the aliens don't turn out to be like the Galactic Federation from Rick and Morty, where they take over the planet, make everyone's lives like 1,000% better, and then just kind of rule over us with a kind-hearted, warm hug, I don't think people are going to care.
Yeah, as long as they don't have to take up arms, they don't give a shit.
I think they would care if it's openly just, that's the new norm is, hey guys, by the way, this is what's been going on. we're going to have to start abiding by it since we're going to start going planet to planet. Here's what we have to follow.
Well, see, if they make people change their daily routine, then yeah, absolutely.
I think it'd be more of a national thing. I mean, like, hey, we have to sign treaties with XYZ. You can't do anything, or now they can do whatever, or now you can have regulations on if they are a thing. Can they do things here?
Okay, so let me ask you this. LT, do you watch Invincible? Yeah. Okay, so we all watch Invincible.
Oh yeah.
If you're listening to this, cannot recommend that show enough. It is one of the best written shows that I've ever watched. Yes, it is animated. It's adult animated. No, it's not tentacle porn anime. So we'll just put that out there. In Invincible, you have the alien race that is coming to Earth to conquer it and take it over, and they say, make it a better society through their ruling, right? If Earth were taken over by an empire like those, if they just let us live our lives with some very minimal intrusion, would that be more acceptable? Or do you think if it was just a pure takeover and, okay, we're going to do everything you've been doing, we're just aliens?
I think we're probably also are already at probably the first part where we have been technically, maybe it's not necessarily they own us, but they might police us more or less, and we've got set parameters. So that might be the whole thing is the planet's still yours. We're not going to tell you what to do, but you have to follow this, or there will be consequences. Because if there is a thing, and if they are here, and if there were no consequences, and us using our monkey brain started shooting them down left, right, and center, how quickly would it turn for them to start shooting back? So I think there has to be, if they're real, there has to have been already something in the books with it.
Yeah. So something else that is potentially keeping things from, or people from really believing everything, the lack of definitive proof, and we kind of touched on that earlier, the fact that there is no giant phallic shaped saucer on the front, the White House lawn, says, hey, we don't believe that there's anything here because we don't see it. It's not like the bean in Chicago. You can't just walk up to it and put your tongue on it like everybody else. Have you never put your tongue on the bean, Gibbs?
In Chicago? No. Is this why you don't go to Chicago anymore? Did they ban you from Chicago?
I signed an NDA. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. You can't just be going sticking your tongues on random beans. That's not how that works.
That is, in fact, exactly how that works, Gibbs.
God, you'd get lost in Mexico.
Stigma and misconceptions. The topic of UFOs has been associated with fringe beliefs and conspiracy theories for decades. Just mentioning the fact that you saw a UFO makes people think you wear one of these all day. It's becoming less of a thing now. The stigmas and the I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. The stigmas being reduced. There are congressional offices being put together, have been put together. So federal offices are now being funded by our tax dollars to study UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, for those who don't know. That's something that has been keeping information suppressed. The fact that people are afraid to come out and say, hey, I saw something in the sky.
Yeah, well, you can thank the CIA for that one. Because they punish people all the way back
in the
40s and 50s for talking about that kind of stuff.
Right.
They still do have plenty of reports every year, though. They're within these hearings. They say they'll have a few hundred every year. So it's still not. This is military reports. This is military equipment. Fighter jets, stuff like that. So,
but I would say the majority of those are probably anomalies, though. Like I'm sure some of those are actually like UFOs or UAPs, but
those 300 to 400.
A lot of those are
narrowed
anomalies,
down to the UAPs.
Right.
It's strictly UAPs, not just anomalies and stuff like that. This was strictly. They looked at the picture and was like, "Yeah, that's some crazy shit."
So you would think if there was any sort of definitive proof, we'd at least have like one good photo or two or something.
Right. A few good photos, some good videos that you'd be able to sit there and say, okay, yeah, that's a real video. That's not some photoshopped AI edited bullshit like the Will Smith eating spaghetti video. Ugh.
But at the same time, a really good picture is going to look like something that was just really good at editing it in.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like we were talking about last week, we're going to hit a spot in the very, very near future where it's going to be impossible to determine if a photo or video is fake or not, because AI is so good at making those.
Yeah,
I mean, we're close.
There's a good chance there are a lot of good real pictures out there that are out in the world, but everyone just believes is fake for one reason or another, but is actually real.
Right.
And that'll just get lost in the ether. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it would ultimately take it being government things being released. They're going, hey, with our sensors, and this is with, this is corroborated with, XYZ, we've got reports on this.
Right.
This is what it looks like. We've seen multiple things like this. They within all the hearings, they've already passed that they've got to basically release all the information from since 47 up until like 25, 50 years ago. So
right. I would like for them to re-release news broadcasts and things that they have scrubbed from the internet.
That might.
And then I would like for them to release why. What really kind of upsets me is back in the early 2000s, I remember watching video of news reports from somewhere in Central America. I want to say it was around Mexico, but I thought it was something out of a movie because I remembered seeing something similar from Signs, and I thought they were like re-releasing it or making a Signs 2 or something. But it was reports of lights or something over a city in Mexico. But they saw them at night. They were just hovering. And then the day came and they didn't think they were still there, but people were throwing objects where the lights were and the objects were hitting them and bouncing off. I remember clearly watching the reports of these videos. Go to search for them. You can't find them. Now, yes, it's been 20 years, but either we got harambeed by it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's a good bit that we don't know and that we probably won't know. I hope they start releasing all that stuff, everything to do with anything that they scrub news article wise. I think if they end up starting to declassify things as they've said it, I would imagine they'd have to have some sort of report as to scrubbing files and then having a reason to scrub it within their documents. So we might end up actually seeing this was a thing that happened here that we needed to hide for, as national security reasons and stuff like that. So if they start releasing it, we'll probably see it then. That's if they make it that far.
Yeah, if we'll see. The last big thing was the so what factor, and I think Gibbs, you'd already kind of touched on that a little bit. Even if people accept the possibility that there is extraterrestrial life, it may not seem relevant because of everyday life. So,
no, I don't know anybody outside of like our immediate group, like people that just go to work, come home, deal with the family, go to bed. Most people.
Oh no!
You left the Discord.
It's
very hard to talk to you when you're not in the Discord, buddy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right. That's thinking. I'm just going to continue talking, and it's going to be on the video. But yeah, he's no longer in the Discord for this. So I don't know why he left. He's just staring into the abyss. There he is.
Welcome back.
Oh, I just ruined the whole episode.
No, you didn't. We're going to keep it in. Because I think
Okay.
it's funny. But no, most people really don't care, dude. If it doesn't affect their life directly, who the hell cares?
I think that's part of the issues. I don't think people understand how it would affect their life, and that's the issue. It's not necessarily that people don't believe; it's just people don't understand.
I think UFOs used to be a big thing because people thought that, oh yeah, what if the aliens come to get me? Whereas nowadays, like, everybody knows that, like, no, the aliens aren't coming to get you. You're like one of 8 fucking billion people. Like, they're not coming after you.
Yeah, you have a better chance of people coming for you.
You have a better chance of winning the lottery. Right. You know?
Right.
So it's just one of those things where now the people's priorities have shifted. But then again, back then, you got to realize back in the 70s and 60s, they didn't know about the crazy stuff that, like, different governments were happening in the different things, parts of the world, different history. There's a lot of stuff that people thought, wow, the craziest things could be seeing these crop circles and looking at a UFO. To them, that was like the most mind-boggling thing. Meanwhile, in 2025, you realize that the U.S. government does chemical testing on our own people and kills its own, citizens and all these other mumbo jumbo that we've talked about previously.
Oh, look at the food. Oh my God, our food supply. We're eating ourselves to death. I hate it. It's delicious, but I hate it.
You're not wrong.
Deliciously terrible.
No. Oh my God.
I'll be happy once we're on European standards for food, just saying.
Yeah, so I found a list. I'll put it up in the Discord later if I remember. When RFK banned the food dyes and whatnot, they're changing the name of those dyes to keep them in the food. And I found the list that they're changing those to, so I will post that later.
Actually, that would be helpful if I had those at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not even surprised.
Can do. Yeah.
No.
So, and I apologize for anybody watching the technological mishap failure fritz that I had there for a second.
Sorry, that was just kind of funny.
I meant to close Steam because I was getting pop-up alerts. And I'm like, I don't need to be showing that shit off.
Oh, you're getting pop-ups, were you?
Yeah, there were finally pop-ups in my life that told me things that I didn't need to know.
You look at those ones, don't you?
I had to because they were like, hey.
For the listeners at home, there's a backstory about this. We'll get to one of these days.
Yes. So, one thing to keep in mind is that there's a lot more public interest in the UFO UAP phenomenon now, with the government acknowledging that this is a real thing and that it needs to be looked into more. Media and even scientists now are getting in on this. Avi Loeb is a very respected scientist, and he has written books and put together a team to build a new telescope to monitor the sky at all times through the night and begin finding things that are coming into the atmosphere. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. There is a sense of malaise over about a lot of things. The different reports, the amount of fake news that's out there with this stuff, the AI and deep fake generated content. There is genuine curiosity about the issue. So it's not such a big thing to talk about these things in our skies anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be the new normal eventually.
Eventually. And one day we'll get our Zephyr Cochrane Day where they just land a ship somewhere and start shaking hands.
I think that's going to be the thing that's needed to get everybody on board.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the aliens are going to get one look at this thing we call the internet. And they're going to say, glass this bitch.
They've probably already seen it at this point. That's probably why they don't talk to us.
They're like, oh my God, they did what with their what? Like,
Like, oh no, run away.
If they saw Two Girls, One Cup, we're done.
Yeah. For the sake of the human race, we have to get rid of that video. They put piercings where? Like, I just... Oh, man, that's...
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the reason why we're on this planet is we are this really weird, like, nature reserve where other aliens go to look at us and just...
The zoo hypothesis.
Yeah, we're basically just... we are here because we are interesting to watch.
Yep. I don't know. I've kind of started leaning towards this is a take two. We see things from Mars that could not have been put there naturally.
Mm-hmm. I like the distant origin theory that we did not originate here. And if you think about some of the medical problems that we develop as humans, that one kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like we get sunburn, no other mammal on this planet does. We get a lot of back and joint issues, could be because of the gravity here.
Maybe we weren't really designed for it. Mars has lower gravity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they start a Mars colony and then everyone's like, wow, this is fantastic. My back doesn't hurt.
And we live to be like 200 there.
It's going to be sad when people spend the first 10 years in this sitting there thinking, a lot of these medical ailments that we have to deal with just don't really exist on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Even more importantly, people have to take chiropractic visits to Mars. That's when, shit's getting weird.
Right. I mean, eventually it might get cheap enough.
Babies in space.
That's a lot of logistics.
I don't think you guys... no. There was a thing, a spin table, a centrifugal force spin table was developed in the 60s to assist with labor and delivery in women. They are considering putting this table into use in space for babies.
Am I sorry that all I can think was a woman giving birth at mocking Jesus and that baby coming flying out?
Well, it's got a net at the end of the table to catch the baby when it gets flung out. But oh my God, I saw this thing. I could not stop laughing.
That makes sense. I mean, for us,
I'm sitting here thinking that poor woman in agony of birth, also having to deal with the agony of being spun.
But wouldn't it just feel like she's just standing up? So it might just help.
She's still gonna see the room spinning around her.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, it's gonna be the fucking Jeopardy wheel of births over here. There's fucking goddamn. Do they at least get a prize if she births them at a certain direction? Just like, you went a free trip to Miami, woo! I don't get it.
They're gonna have to rename Lamaze to Lavam because they're gonna be I couldn't do it, man. The dads in the room, oh my God. They're going to have to spin them too because they're going to want to hold hands. I know every dad's going to want to be...
every birth's going to have just in the background just a thrill of, you spin me right round, baby, right? Just in the distance. I feel like there could be a whole comedy series based on living on a ship going from one planet to another. It's like a 5-year-long trip. It's just almost a, not like Friends, but maybe kind of like Friends. But just imagine the episode where someone's giving birth. All right, get onto the spin table.
Spin her up.
Jerry, get the net. You got to catch this kid. You're going to be coming out at 35 miles an hour, so you got to be quick. It's like a soggy softball. I want to tell you, buddy.
Hands over. He's got a catcher's
soggy
net.
meatball.
Congratulations, it's a boy and a home run. Jesus.
Oh, so something that we could try to look for would be further evidence would help bring people together and coalesce around it. The whole idea, having conclusive evidence of technology, not of this world, or in fact life, would prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it exists and it would have a major impact on society as a whole. I don't know about you, but if I saw Zaxxar the Third from Calaxia 9 giving a speech in front of the White House, yeah, I'd listen.
Yep. Like, oh, I'm gonna pause work for a little bit. Make sure we're not gonna get blown up real quick.
Yeah, if old boy goes to the microphone and just looks around and starts going, ack, I'm gonna grab my shit and run. I saw that one.
I don't understand that.
I don't get the reference.
You guys are too young. You guys are too young. Oh my god.
Yes.
Mars Attacks.
Yes, I am too young.
Yep. Nope.
Now, hear me out. What if the aliens are like coneheads?
Yeah. We come from France.
Okay. You'll be funny. Oh, sorry, you go.
How have you seen Coneheads but not Mars Attacks?
I don't know. I don't pick what movies I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I just saw them.
They just kind of appeared. I've also seen Coneheads, not Mars Attacks.
Oh, Coneheads is so
we're gonna
good,
have
though.
a movie night.
Man.
We're gonna have a movie night.
You know what, though? I wonder if aliens get a kick out of watching our alien movies.
Oh, look at these dumb bastards.
I would be terrified. I wouldn't know what to think. I wouldn't know if they were showing off their real technology or not. Because through the decades of the movie development, our supposed technology has gotten so much better. At one point, we actually went backwards in time with our technology in the movies. And now we've taken further leaps again. So, like, you can tell which ones are like pure bullshit and which ones are like, oh, they could really have that stuff. So, if I was an alien watching some of these movies, I would be like, oh, we may really not want to fuck with these guys. we can zip zap their existence into, nothing, but we're going to die too. We're supposed to be able to stomp them.
Well,
I read a funny, so I read a science fiction story. It was like 30 pages long one day, but it put up an interesting proposition of what if humans are not the most advanced species in the universe, but really good at one thing, ranged combat. It was the idea that no other species in the galaxy had thought about making the thing called the gun. So they went to invade Earth, and they brought 1 million soldiers, and they landed them in the middle of Oklahoma, and they all land, they start spreading out, and they make it like a few hundred miles. And I think they encounter this thing called the tank, and the rifle, and artillery, and better yet, the fucking A-10 Warthog. And they realize, oh, we can travel the stars, but we're not fucking with these people. Like it is very possible that while in some ways we are not technologically savvy, we are very good at killing each other. We are exceptionally good at that. That is something we kind of have a gold star, I think, for. So who knows? Who knows? It could be the case of, or something else to consider is look at like more of the worlds where it might not be us that defeats them, but our biology. Because also, not for nothing, we are fucking dirty creatures.
We're disgusting.
Yeah. So, like, we are kind of the Nurgle plague father, just with surrounding ourselves in this just like wafting ooze of aromas that who knows? It could be the case of like they try to invade and then they realize they've never heard of microbiology. They've never heard of this kind of stuff.
Gibbs.
No.
It could be the oyster gravy
No,
Gibbs.
shut the fuck up. No, not on stream. Not on stream. No, I refuse to let that happen on stream. No. Sit.
One thing you have to keep in mind, too, though, is there's a better possibility that our nukes are what's hesitating them. I mean...
Although I don't think nuclear technology would be that. If you can travel the stars, I'd assume you'd have to get some level
getting
of
blown the
nuclear
fuck
technology.
up is getting blown the fuck up.
Realistically, yes, unless they have some kind of ultra advanced shielding technology, or they have an armor that can like use 0 point energy and just absorb the force of detonation.
But we have enough
that
nukes.
is probably thermodynamically impossible. You're still going to have to contend with the fact that they may have advanced weaponry, but we have crude weaponry that works.
And the thing is, we have enough nuclear weapons that we might not win, but we're not going to fucking lose.
Oh no, we'll all lose. That's what
you know what though? You know what though? For a species that cannot really travel outside of our planet, if we're able to destroy an invading army of any sort of greater force,
that says something.
That is a fucking win in my book. I am okay with that.
As soon as they invade, you just see B2s and everything start just going in on them. Like, all right.
Yeah. And not only that, but I think every nation on Earth would come together to fight as one. It's like we can put our hatred of each other aside for this one day.
Right. Let's survive till tomorrow, and we'll figure things out.
Yeah. We'll hate each other tomorrow. Having increased public discourse, getting the public at large to discuss the whole UAP alien phenomenon can promote the sharing of information that could prove to be crucial, especially in a time of actual contact.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There have already been reports of basically treaties between like the U.S. and Russia about UAPs and stuff like that.
Yeah. That'd be kind of odd to be literally in the middle of fighting and be like, hey, ceasefire
Quick
for just a minute.
timeout.
Just we're going to stop killing each other because this weird cube just showed up overhead.
Or, hey, by the way, that fast moving thing was not a missile that we shot at you guys.
Yeah.
If you think it is, call us first.
Yeah. The amount of nuclear close calls we've had that are attributed to essentially alien phenomenon are kind of scary.
Disabling of nuclear systems or activating of nuclear systems.
Yeah. Them basically showing, hey, you really don't control your own stuff.
Exactly.
That's terrifying. Exploration of the implications, talking about the different consequences of actual contact with extraterrestrial life can make the topic more relevant and definitely more engaging for the public. Getting people used to the idea of contact makes it more palatable if and or when it happens.
I'm just more concerned that people are going to see aliens and think, wow, can I fuck it?
Oh, that's already people, like that's the thought people have had for decades.
That's
if I am legitimately single at that time, I will make it my life's dream to become the Earth's William Shatner. I guess. What the hell was his name? Captain.
So which one are you talking about?
Shatner.
Yeah, he's Captain. He's Kirk.
Kirk, that's right.
Yeah, Kirk,
God
yeah.
damn.
You're talking to the Star Trek nerd here. So
I am too. God, words are hard tonight.
That's okay.
Yeah, I will be our planet's Captain Kirk if I am legitimately single at that point. If it has cheeks, I will clap them.
I will quote you on that one. You hear that, fellas? He's open for business. But I guess what would really be concerning is like, all right, so they introduce aliens and they become like semi part of society. Things are gonna get weird, very weird.
Could you imagine just going to a restaurant and just got a little gray dude just chilling, chowing down on a Big Mac?
Oh Lord!
I guess my thing is like I'd be okay with it because I'm pretty chill with that stuff. But then like it depends on like what kind of cultures they would have and like kind of how they interact. Because you know things can get very weird very quickly.
Right. Now, that exact point that you just made is something that I wanted to bring up towards the end of the episode. Yeah.
Which point?
Suppose contact is actually made with an alien species.
Yeah.
Let's say they could actually help us with all of our really big issues. Okay.
What's the catch?
Well, let me get there. Okay. I'm trying to paint you a mural of a picture. So they can solve all of our technological, environmental, energy, medical issues, war, everything. But it turns out that they have a cultural practice that we here on Earth find to be absolutely abhorrent. Let's say they do something on the level of cannibalism because of the size of their population. They have found that the only way to sustain their populace is through the use of their younglings, their spawn. And for all intents and purposes, they more or less look like us.
So
they're using their what we would consider children.
So it's theirs, but it's not ours.
Kids. Well, I'll get to that. So they consume and use theirs to produce more for consumption. So essentially, they're using parts of their species that we would consider to be our children as breed and feedstock for the food supply. And in exchange for them working with us to correct all of our technology and societal and medical issues, they say, well, we'd like to exchange DNA with your people. We want to enhance our food supply.
no.
But we can do all this good for you.
Well, figure it out.
Well,
I would use that offer
to someone in a cup and that's it. And then we get all the benefits. And if it's their kids that they do, and even if they use part of our genes, it's their culture. And I guess.
So you would be okay with them making kids from your stuff and then eating them, using them to breed more and eating them?
I guess we would
in their culture, it's perfectly fine.
So I guess my question is,
who are we to tell them, a technologically superior species, that what they're doing and have been doing for potentially hundreds of thousands of years?
I would hope there's another option on the table. I'd rather have a different galactic overlord. But if the option is the complete evisceration of our planet, or we give them a sample and they just kind of take care of us and leave us alone, I think that'd be the better option over being destroyed. But if there's an option of, or we can just talk to the next species and see if they've got a better option. See if we can wheel and deal an overlord.
Uh-huh.
So I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Would their technology, as in, do they pass on the blueprints and all the information to us, or do they just make it for us?
Nope, they give us everything.
And all they need is one sample.
Well, but that's what you were saying.
Nope.
Is it?
They want all the samples.
Oh, everyone in a cup and then send it off?
What are they gonna?
They want all.
What are
DNA.
they gonna fucking milk me? Jesus Christ! Where are you going with this? What the fuck? Where are you going with?
So, what if they actually wanted us to give up some of our children for this?
I think that would be crossing the line.
No. What I would do at this point is I become a politician and say, hey, why don't we get our shit together so we don't have to do what these people do? That's it. I will use it as a rallying cry to say, let's get our shit together. But that being said, it would be one thing if they just needed some splooge in a cup, sure, whatever, fucking have a field day. At least pick someone that represents our civilization well, like Henry Cavill or something like that. Fine. Get him to do it. Take one for humanity. Let him do his thing. It's fine. Not a big deal, buddy. But right. It depends on if they had the technology where it literally would be infinite energy replicator, food production, that kind of stuff. That's very tempting. But if it's just, you get marginally better nuclear reactors, no.
Yeah, no.
Everything depends on you know what I mean?
I'm talking like societal changing.
Are you talking Star Trek, like 24th century level?
Yep.
Then at that point, if it has nothing to do with our physical humans that identify as humans on Earth right now, then sure, whatever. I think that's worth it. But if you're talking about abducting actual humans, then no.
I think I'd agree.
Because
but they're going to make actual humans.
But you said they're going to be they're not humans.
It's not the same. They're not on from Earth.
So if they take the DNA, grow it, and make humans that become children, human kids, there will be a human colony essentially running around as breed and feedstock
on their planet, not on our planet.
Yeah.
I mean,
because here's my thought: we use that technology, eventually we just conquer them back.
What if there's an intelligent race of cows and that we've been absolutely murking their ancestors?
What do you mean you drink milk? You drink the sacred liquid.
What is the quarter pounder made with?
Imagine explaining that to a sentient race of cows that, by the way, we love you guys so much that we have entire fast food chains. We can get cow in under a minute. That's how much we need this shit. Imagine explaining that.
I just got the image of some dude like jumping down and trying to suck off the cow teats. Like, we worship you.
Well, depending where they land, that might happen.
Sir, that's a bull.
I thought this milk tasted funny. Jesus. Oh, man. Let's just hope it's not like a sentient race of chickens or something like that, because they're fucking vicious.
Yeah, they are.
Velociraptors.
Although that brings up a point. I want to get a rooster so that I can name it Girthy, and then I want to sit on my front porch and pet it in my shorts.
You know, I can't say the language I'd like to use because we're streaming, but that's not okay.
Yeah, understandable.
Because when I write it on the police report, the words I'm going to use are not going to describe what you're doing. They're going to describe exactly what we all think you're doing.
Uh-huh.
Where's that meme of he's whipping his cock out? Oh man. Oh god. Am I have to start?
So I had to pull up the types of reports that have been given over the years. Since the UFOs have been being reported, almost 30,000 orbs have been reported. By and large, the largest amount of general reportings. Triangle, 20,000. The generalized category of other. So like your teacup, bells, your trapezoid type shit, 10,000 of those.
I appreciate that these aliens have really mastered geometry.
So
they got all the bases covered.
Right.
So here's the other part of that theory. Quick to pause you. Those might be ours.
Yeah, sure. Those could be ours. Yes.
Imagine asking a pilot,
10,
"What do you
000.
fly?" And his answer is the wedge.
It's helicopters and things like that. Things that hover.
Yeah.
Hovercraft.
Yes.
I fly my teacup short and stout.
A meat tricycle.
I'm the conductor of the meat train. Oh, no, I just
10,000 fireballs, 9,000 discs, almost 8,000 eggs, 6,500 cigars, 4,200 changelings. So objects that have changed shape while being observed. 2,700 rectangles and a little over 2,000 diamonds. Because diamonds are generic. Honestly, the amount of people that have reported these things from all walks of life, we've had a president or two that have admitted to them. Christopher Columbus in his logs talked about glowing lights under the water, Congress people, senators,
Pilots,
literally Navy pilots, Air Force, Marines,
SEALs.
some of our best trained, special forces. When these people come out, who have been stellar people their whole lives, have highest level security clearances, and they're saying, hey, look, we have this stuff in our government. It may be a threat at some point. The public at large needs to be aware of this, and they need to be ready for this. That's something to take into consideration.
It should be on the news.
Right. If not too long ago, there was a report that the James Webb saw objects in space that were course correcting. Now, I've tried to read the reports that I could find on the web about that, and even I still can't figure out if it was something true or not.
Let's ask Grok.
But if James Webb saw something that was akin to a fleet of objects, and they are course correcting in any manner, that's something to be worried about. Because objects in space don't course correct.
That you know of.
Well, natural objects, I should say.
That you know of.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they made a boomerang in space.
Yeah. Space sword boomerang.
Exactly. See, now you're getting it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Goodbye, space sword. I would have liked to have seen an episode where they went and found the space sword for Sokka. That would have been awesome.
It's a shame that Legend of Korra wasn't as good as Last Airbender.
I know. I'm excited to see the next one coming out. I hope it slaps like Will Smith. So I am through my notes. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up or mention? Anything from Grok on that?
It's not refreshing on a.
Okay. So it's probably not allowed to talk about it. There's something for us. If we send AI to the stars and then it tries to come back, 1,000 years later and take us over like V'ger.
See, you and I both have a favorite game series based on that concept.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
For the audience at home, Pip and I here are very big Earth Siege fans. It's a very out there game series based on a game called Star Siege. And the idea of that is that humanity gets to a point to where there's basically an emperor of mankind. They develop an AI, and the AI gets so advanced and so freaking scary, they put it in a ship and throw it out into space and hope to God it gets destroyed. Well, it does not. He is very angry, and he decides to try and take over humanity. And it's a very interesting story about the fights and the battles and technology and what happens. But yeah, I don't think we should ever let any AI out of our sight, let alone out of our control. I don't trust any of that shit. You already know my opinion. It should all fucking burn at the rate we're going.
I can see a good use for it in the future.
Yeah. We talk about AI a lot on this show. I think AI can be very useful. I just think that we need to monitor it carefully with a rifle to its CPU core.
Yeah.
As long as we can program the 3 laws to have it actually function, then it would be worth it.
And don't give it a side door that it can decide whether or not to obey the 3 laws.
Exactly.
No sunny scenarios.
No. Then it would work. Because it would make sense if we could make a ship that was powered by AI using like microfactories on board, with the idea of sending it off and saying, hey, go colonize Pluto, and just let it get a 100 or 200 year head start. It'd be amazing.
Maybe that's the plan with Starship and everything. Send all the robots, start building all the habitation, get everything set up, running, then get people there. I mean, that'd make the most sense if you could.
That's something we talked about on our Elon to Mars episode.
Moon and Mars. Yeah.
I think that'd be probably the best strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about it. Things already tested.
Like even if you had people in orbit of Mars and like a Starlink type system set up in orbit, and then you had people controlling the bots from orbit, doing almost like a VR type interface to the surface. As long as the tasks weren't too fine, like generalized construction type tasks, that even if you could like queue them up, I think that would work pretty well.
Yeah, 100%. And then that's when you start building big ships in space.
Yeah.
Once atmosphere is not a problem, when you can get robots to do that, then the universe is your oyster. That's always going to be our biggest problem. So
yeah.
You know what else?
Shut the fuck up. No, we're not doing that on stream. No. To the audience at home, I'm sorry, but I'm not letting that happen. No. No.
All right, I've got Grok searching now for the course correction thing.
Okay.
See if it says anything.
I got to hear this. Grok being one of the AI tools that have been released fairly recently. Drum roll, please. What does Grok say?
It looks like it misunderstood and asked if it has done course corrections.
Oh my god.
Well, it's trying. The spirit's there, but
the spirit's willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised.
Ask it, has it seen objects that make course corrections? All right. Seems likely that the James Webb Space Telescope has not observed objects such as asteroids or comets making course corrections. But Grok could be this high up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, and then it says, debunked rumors. Okay. There have been claims in social media that JWST observed large, possibly non-natural object making course corrections, but fact checks such as those by Snopes have found no evidence to support those claims. Snopes is very reliable.
No.
No, not even a little bit. Yeah, so unfortunately that may not be a real thing. On the plus side, it might actually be real and is just being covered up.
Very possible.
So
you never know.
Never know.
No,
never know.
Not until it shows up in orbit.
Pretty much.
And then
it's going to be a don't look up issue.
Oh, by the time we see it in orbit, we're already fucked, guys. There's no.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's when Musk just launches every single rocket he has at it.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless they try to mine it.
Mine it before it gets here. It can't hit us if there's not itself anymore. So I think a Starship can carry like 50 to 100 tons. So I mean that's not a lot. That's I think a couple $1 billion of material.
That's worth it.
If they could find an asteroid with 50 tons of gold, that's $5 billion right there.
More than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Asteroid mining definitely needs to happen.
They're starting it.
How it happens will be the key.
I think they either sent something or they're getting ready to send something to test, make sure it's feasible to get something to get close to an asteroid and go from there.
That's why Elon's going to be the first trillionaire.
100%.
Yeah, it'll either be Elon or whoever. Literally, the first trillionaire will be a space miner.
Calling it. It's Musk.
Most likely.
If SpaceX was a publicly traded company, I would have all my money in it.
As soon as it gets an IPO, I plan on investing in it.
Yep. Anything and everything I'd own, I'd sell every other stock just for that.
Oh, don't go crazy.
If
Be a little diversified.
I mean, if they figured out mining up there and then bringing back reasonable,
well, yeah,
that's gonna be your best performing stock. Period. You might as well.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
maybe they'll find a couple UFOs while they're out there looking for rocks.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add in. Gibbs?
No, we covered everything I wanted to talk about.
Alrighty. Well, thank you to our friend LT, who never bothered to tell us about himself on the show. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Gibbs, anything else that you wanted to plug in about anything?
No, just thank you all for everybody that's been joining the Discord and as well on the social medias. Thank you everybody for been interacting lately. Been really loving the numbers. We've been really appreciating all of that. And yeah, just feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments, and also if you have any ideas for any future episodes. Granted, we do have a long list, but we're always looking for more ideas and for stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll have some reels or shorts or whatever coming in the near future. I know we've talked about that a couple times, but life won't stop lifing.
Sorry, my butt hurts from life lately. I don't have to tell you. It's been something.
You are the fleshlight for the universe.
Dude, it seems like that lately. But, you know, it's getting better. We're getting better.
Yeah. So we will watch for you guys on the socials. Join us on the Discord. And as always, we will catch y'all next time.